Hey Insta, and let me just go live on Facebook at the same time. Hi Facebook. Um, Hello. Hi. I am here today to give you one of my expert sharing sessions. So, every Monday, this is where I come on and I share with you something that I think will help you to enhance your practice, navigate a challenge, feel more confident, and add more value to your classes. Now, these questions come from my own community. And so they are really, really relevant for you if you are a baby massage or a baby yoga teacher. So this is where you can really get your geek on and really feel into those parts of your practice where you'd like to do more for your clients, you'd like to serve them more deeply, but maybe you're not too sure about how to do that. Now, if you may also end up watching this on one of my sharing sessions. So hi Leanne, so all of this content is provided to you every week. When you sign up for my newsletter, you get this delivered to your mailbox. So if you're looking for a little bit of CPD, a little bit of hand holding, if you want to make sure that you're on the right track with your baby massage and your baby yoga classes, this is a great way to do it. So today, let me just adjust this a little bit. So today I'm going to be talking about helping new mums with anxiety. So obviously what we teach is the core foundational knowledge is baby massage and baby yoga. But we are all about love creates love. So that means nurturing mummies and daddies as much as it means nurturing babies. And we know that a lot of mums and dads, but particularly mums, because of like hormonal changes and also different different pressures around motherhood, that some mothers can feel quite tense and anxious and fearful after giving birth. And we don't want any mummies to feel like that. We want mummies to feel empowered, we want mummies to feel confident, we want mummies to feel authentic. So when we're welcoming mummies into the class, we've got to be really sensitive and aware that not everybody in the class is going to be having the same experience of motherhood. And so what I want to teach you now are some general techniques that you can bring to your classes that would help a mummy who had anxiety or was maybe suffering some fear, and also would just help anybody really who might feel a bit stressed out and wants to return to themselves, wants to ground themselves. Because let's face it, you don't have to be a new mummy to feel stressed out. You can be I'm a mummy of teenagers. I get stressed out sometimes when you've got that overwhelming feeling. And you just really need to come out of your head and back into your heart and to ground your body down. Because basically what is happening when we experience anxiety is that our mind is creating a fearful situation where we are, based on maybe experiences in the past, basically we're triggering lots of memories which can be traumatic, that bring about the physical sensations of fear in the body. And so when we experience panic attacks and anxiety, it is very, very real to the body. That's why it's so scary, because it comes out of nowhere. It's triggered by a thought pattern or a belief, or wiring in the brain that's connected to something traumatic, and then it shows up in things like tightness around the chest. You can feel it really here, you can feel it in your tummy, you can get tingles, and you just feel a little bit like you're out of control. And now when that starts, then that in itself becomes very fearful, because we think, hold on, what's happening to me? I don't like this experience. If you're in company, you might feel quite anxious, overwhelmed, and then we become more fearful and panicked and anxious, which then sets up this whole cycle. And before we know it, we can really get into having an actual panic attack, which if you've ever had a panic attack, it shows up like a heart attack. Your heart can be pumping, you can have shortness of breath, you can feel faint, you can feel giddy. It's scary. It's really, really scary, and it's really real. So the start of this comes from that initial trigger, that thought pattern, that wiring, where even though in reality we may not be at risk of harm or danger, our brain believes that we are. And again, if it's associated with a past trauma in the mind, if it evokes the same feelings and emotions, it's going to take us back to that place, and it can actually bring up a secondary response from maybe years ago, something traumatic that's happened. So it's very complicated complicated process of unpicking trauma and anxiety, and we don't do that in our classes. But what we want to do is have an understanding of where anxiety and trauma comes from. And there's lots of books I can recommend on this, and if you want me to do another session on this, about how the body actually stores traumatic experiences, and how with somatic work like yoga and stretching and dance and movement you can actually try to re-educate and move fear and trauma and anxiety through the body. And that might be something that would be really good to actually bring into sessions with your client. So the two techniques that I want to teach you now to help with anxiety, and do you know what, I really think that this would be a lovely addition to any baby massage or yoga class. I think that maybe this is something that you could teach alongside, for example, in our regular baby yoga classes when we do our breathing. I'd like you to maybe take and try this anxiety type breathing, because if you haven't got anxiety, what it's going to do is help you to breathe more. Like, nobody's going to know, nothing bad's going to happen to anyone for mindfully connecting with your breath. I'll tell you that. But if you do suffer from anxiety, it can help you to bring you back to your body. And then the second technique is just so lovely and yummy, and it's based on oxytocin, which I absolutely love. And again, to be honest, you don't have to be having a full-blown panic attack or anxiety to do this. It's just a really lovely way to reconnect with yourself. And I've been doing this myself during lockdown, and it's been fantastic. So with these techniques, again, you teach them in your classes at the beginning, or you could actually do a little session. Now we're in COVID-19, there'll still be mummies that are feeling anxious, that are feeling fearful. Maybe they're worried about coming out of lockdown because we don't know about how the virus is being spread. So some mummies will still want to be staying at home with their babies. So this is a great tip that you can share with the mummies that you're doing in your online classes or in your virtual coffee mornings, because it's going to be great as well. So the first one I'm going to show you is called butterfly patting, or clapping sometimes it's called, but it doesn't really matter what you want to call it. In essence, it's a way to override the physical sensations of anxiety that are happening in the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one hand across our body like this. We're going to put the other hand on this side. So you can have your arms quite high up, or you can have them quite low down, but basically what across the body is good. This is why it's called the butterfly patting, because your hands look like butterflies. So it's really easy to remember if you get into that state of anxiety. So you can place your hand, one hand on one side, one hand on the other. My feet are flat on the floor, nice straight back. And so when you start to feel that you are going, your head is taking over and you're going down that pathway of feeling scared or fearful, or traumatic things are coming up in your mind, and your mind starts to race, and that brings on this physical sensation in the body, what we're going to do is just pat like this. So it's very, very simple. Now the way that this works is, what we're doing is we're sending a different message up to the nervous system. We're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest, rather than our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. So by doing this gentle patting, what we're doing is we're telling our nervous system that it's okay. And we're telling our nervous system that whatever threat or anxiety or fear that we might be holding in our brains that's showing up in our body as those physical symptoms, it's actually okay, and that it's going to pass. So this helps us to get back into our body, get back into the present. It's really grounding. It also, as I said, helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And I also think that it would be helping to produce oxytocin as well, because whenever we touch our body, we start to produce oxytocin. So this is so beautifully grounding. It's really, really easy. So if you put on a little bit of music at the beginning of your class, and I'm talking while I'm doing it, but I'm going to just be quiet so I can show you. You can take some nice deep breaths. And it really brings you back into your body. Now what's really interesting about this is, what do we do when we have babies? So I have my baby here, I have my baby massage doll here. When we want to calm our babies, what do? pat, yeah? So again, we're helping to regulate the nervous system. We're operating, with touch. So that means that we're producing oxytocin, and we're basically activating the parasympathetic nervous system. It's exactly the same as this, isn't it? Rocking backwards and forwards, patting baby. So we're just going to take that same concept and we're just going to pat ourselves, grounding ourselves down into our body, starting to remember who we are, returning back to the present moment. You are safe. You can also say affirmations whilst you're doing this if you want. You are safe. There's nothing to fear. You are love. You are here. You're in the present moment. Breathe. You can do inhale, exhale. Okay, so just bringing yourself all the way home, finding yourself coming back to your heart, yeah, coming back to your body, letting it all go. And just let it all go. Okay. All right, so anyone trying that with me? Tara is laughing. I don't know if she's finding that funny. Oh no, she's sending love. She's sending love to me. So yes, great technique to do there. So that's our butterfly patting. And then the other technique that we can do at the beginning of our class, or the start of our online classes, or a start of our sessions, our virtual coffee mornings, or Love Creates Love groups, is we can oh, Florence got her phone. We can do some breathing techniques. So there's lots and lots of breathing techniques that we can do again, but a really simple, easy one to do is called 4-7-8. Okay, because this is a great one again to slow down the breaths. What happens is when we slow down our breathing, we send a message to our nervous system that there's nothing to be frightened of. So if you imagine if you were in a fear state, if your sympathetic nervous system's kicked in, fight or flight's happened, your muscles get pumped up with adrenaline so you can run, and imagine you're running away from a big bear. So you run away, your heart rate goes up, your breathing rate goes up, so everything is happening to tell your body that there's fear and that you need to get away from it. So when we stop, so imagine if that bear then disappears and we're hiding behind a tree, the first thing that we would probably do is go yeah, so exhale, and what we're doing is we're exhaling, we're getting rid of the stress. It's that negative energy is leaving the body, and in the exhale we're telling the nervous system that the threat has passed and it's now safe to bring the parasympathetic system back up again and balance it out. Okay, so we bring ourselves from fight or flight, rest and digest comes up until we find this lovely balance, which means that we can relax, or when we need to we can respond. Okay, so relax and respond all the time, so we're nicely balanced. So with the 4-7-8 breath, what we're going to do again is we're going to just find that we're nice in alignment before we begin. We're going to breathe right down into our bellies. So it's really good to put your hand on your belly so that you can feel when you're breathing in. We don't want to be breathing up here costally into the top part of the chest. We really want to send the breath all the way down and just really fill up the whole of the lungs by just gently allowing us to breathe into the belly. So we're going to breathe in for 4, then we're going to retain the breath for 7, and then we're going to exhale the breath for 8. Okay, so we're going to do 3 rounds of that. You can do it with me now. So we're just going to first of all place our hands on our belly. We're open wide and across the chest. Make sure that you're sitting comfortably. You might want to get a little cushion to tip your pelvis forward just so it's a little bit more comfortable, and we're hands on our bellies like this. And we're just going to close our eyes. If you want to close your eyes, if you're doing this with me now live, we're just going to close our eyes and we're just going to begin to connect with our breath. So we're just going to begin to notice the rise and fall of your chest. And just begin to connect with how the breath feels as it enters and it leaves the body. And we're just going to notice how when we bring our attention to our breath, that perhaps things seem to just slow down a little bit, and we become more aware of the sensations within our body and what is happening around us. So we bring our intention and our awareness to ourselves as we inhale and we exhale. So just connect with your breath. Allow yourself to become present, connected. Be in the moment. And then all you need to do in a moment is I'm going to guide you very gently into our relaxed breathing exercise. You've got nothing to think about, nothing to worry about, just focusing on the breath as I'm going to guide you with my voice into this breathing technique. So in a moment we're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then retain the breath for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Retain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Retain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then returning to the natural flow of your breath for a moment, keeping your eyes closed. Just connecting again, the gentle rise and fall of your chest and how that feels. Noticing if anything feels different in the body, if your heart rate slowed down, if your breathing feels deeper, if you're more aware of your senses, and you have a greater connection with yourself. And then we're going to open our eyes and we're just going to come back and connect. So there's a few people that are watching live, but if you're watching at home, the best way to teach something is always to practice it first. So this is the good kind of homework and practice where you get to just mindfully connect with your breath and get to feel more chilled out and more relaxed. So this is good homework for you to do. So these are 2 really simple, easy techniques that are great for parents with anxiety. So please keep them in your keep them in your toolkit for those particular type of parents who might have that extra need. But why not share it with everybody? Because everybody has that feeling of stress and overwhelm. Why not try it yourself? So before you teach something, make sure it resonates with you. Don't just do it because I've told you to do it. If you don't like it and you don't see the benefits, you don't feel the benefits, then it's not the right breathing technique for you. But I think it's a fantastic new little addition to your classes. So just to recap, you have the butterfly patting, which helps to soothe the nervous system. And you can use the example of how we do this with our babies so that our mummies understand that this is why we do it, because we're naturally soothing our babies. And so we're just giving ourselves some of the same love medicine. And then the breathing, which is really easy to remember. It's 4 in, 7 retain, 8 exhale, or anything else that you want to do with that. Any kind of mindful breathing technique, really, really powerful for anyone that's suffering from anxiety. So thanks for watching this today. As I said, this will be going around on an email or sharing session. You might be watching it live on that now. And so you can catch up with all of these techniques. If there's anything else that you want me to cover, that's what I'm here for. Let me know. And I hope that this has been useful and you've enjoyed it today. Tag and share anyone else who's a baby massage or yoga teacher and might want to see it, or anyone who's working with mums with anxiety. It could also help them out too. Okay, so thanks for joining me today, and I will